Researchers in the U.S. say they believe migratory fish carry radioactive substances across the Pacific Ocean. They found trace amounts of cesium in tuna caught off the coast of California 5 months after the accident. Researchers from Stanford University and elsewhere tested 15 bluefin tuna they caught last August off San Diego. They found the fish contained elevated levels of cesium-134. They say their substance is generated only by human activities and was not present in the Pacific before the accident. The researchers say their findings suggest the tuna were most likely contaminated in Japanese waters after the accident. They say the fish then traveled nearly 9,000 kilometers across the Pacific. Still, the researchers say the tuna are still safe to eat.
Hundreds of bluefin tuna unloaded, that is, in a port in western Japan for this year's first catch. A crane was used to unload the 500 bluefin tuna, weighing a total of 18 tons in Sakai Port in Tottori Prefecture on Saturday. Fishermen caught the tuna in the Sea of Japan off the northeast Tohoku region. After being gutted and stuffed with ice, the tuna, each weighing 30 to 50 kilograms, were put on auction at the port's market.
We are very delighted because we were looking forward to the first bluefin tuna catch.
The tuna fetched better prices than those last year at about $22 to $35 per kilogram.
The fishing industry in northeast Japan has taken a step forward in its recovery from last year's nuclear accident. Fishermen conducted their first test catch for commercial purposes off Fukushima Prefecture since the March 11th disaster. No radioactive substances were detected in the marine products. They will go on sale next week. The Prefectural Federation of Fisheries Cooperative Association says it chose 3 kinds of test samples. They showed radiation levels that were low enough to be undetectable by radioscope. 2 kinds of octopus and 1 type of shellfish were tested for radioactivity on Friday and Saturday at the port of Matsukawaura in Soma City. The octopus and shellfish will be boiled and processed before being sold at supermarkets in the city next week.
Japanese researchers expressing concern more than 2 years after the accident at the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear plant. They found high levels of radioactivity in fish almost 100 kilometers from the plant. The scientists caught several Japanese sea bass off Hitachi City that contain levels of radioactive cesium exceeding 1,000 becquerels per kilogram. The amount is more than 10 times the government safety limit. In April 2011, several other fish caught in the same area also contain levels of cesium above 1,000 becquerels. The researchers are trying to find out why fish are still tainted more than 2 years after the accident.
The Prime Minister toured a fish market on Saturday morning. He was accompanied by Reconstruction Minister Tatsuo Hirano and other local officials. The disaster decimated Kamaishi's main industry. Land in the area sank nearly 1 meter, destroying fishing facilities. But locals fought to revive the businesses, and fish trading resumed in full last August. Noda-tasted scallops cultivated in Kamaishi Bay after the disaster.
I was told that the fishing holes have recovered to around half their peak level. I will do my best to support the industry's revival.
Have led authorities in Taiwan to ban food products from Fukushima and 4 nearby prefectures. But last month, inspectors found that products from those areas had made it through customs, and officials are tightening import regulations in response. Taiwanese healthcare authorities will now require labels on all Japanese food products to identify the prefectures they came from. They'll also require radiation checks on certain items, including food for infants. They say they'll release details on the measures and implement them as early as next month. The new regulations were first proposed last year, but they were put on hold due to opposition from Japan. Taiwan is the 3rd largest importer of Japanese foods after Hong Kong and the United States.
California kelp, iodine levels were significantly higher than before Fukushima. They didn't test it for cesium, and they should. They've asked for funding. I don't know if they've got it. I don't know an update on this, but this is important because kelp provides a food source for fish. So there is concern that contamination from the fish that eat the kelp will be concentrated within the fish. Pistachios grown in California were shipped to a Japanese supermarket. The Japanese supermarket tested 18 becquerels per kilogram of cesium-134 and 137. beef raised in Japan, was tested and approved for market sale and then recalled, but not before it was fed to Japanese school children. All of this beef could have been sold to the U.S., and the FDA may not have pulled it. California grass, 14 becquerels per kilogram, cesium-134 and 137. Grass, like kelp, is the beginning of a potential biomagnification chain which could concentrate cesium in cattle, for instance. And as Berkeley put it on their monitoring site, for understanding the time dependence of food chain results, the grass and soil is what to look at. Green tea, 162 kilograms of it shipped to France from Japan and rejected because of this level of contamination, 1,038. The U.S. recommendations would have accepted.
A major Japanese bank is helping push exports of food and farm products to the Middle East. Mizuho Bank has teamed up with a Kuwait-based investment firm to do so. Mizuho officials say they have concluded a memorandum of understanding for business cooperation with the firm that's called the Gulf Investment Corporation. It's founded by the governments of 6 Gulf countries, including Kuwait and Saudi Arabia. Under the accord, these 6 countries are to help Japan promote food exports to the region. And in return, Mizuho will provide financial and other forms of support to Japanese companies for the development of agricultural production and processing technologies in these countries. Promoting sales of farm and food products abroad is one of Japan's new growth strategies. Prime Minister Shinzo Abe is now making a tour of the region with a major business delegation to try to promote exports.